One of the first things that you are likely to notice after installing this update is you have this new icon down here at the bottom left. I think it's actually, you can move it around at least. I'll put it, we'll put it there. It is the Gemini icon, and this does just launch the Gemini web app, basically, is all it is. Nothing too particularly crazy. But the fact that it is now packed in, it's built in, you don't have to manually install that web app yourself, I think is fairly interesting. But maybe the most interesting part about this, let me move my camera over here out of the way, is that there's an option here to try Gemini Advanced. This is going to give you the better version of the Gemini model, and as you can see here, you can upgrade your Google One plan to get this at a discount minimum. If you've bought a new Chromebook, I think you're actually going to get it for a year for free, but you can see what your discount will be there. Basically, you're going to get the 2 terabyte storage in Google One plus this Gemini Advanced. Now, if you don't know much about Gemini, it's something that I actually use quite a bit. One of my favorite uses for it has actually been asking it to help me recap movies and TV shows that maybe I saw a long time ago, I'm watching a sequel to. Maybe it's a TV show we're watching the next episode to, and I'm realizing in the moment that I wasn't paying that close of attention. So I'll just ask it, and it is shocking how well it can handle this task. You can see here, I'm going to have it recap Rise of the Planet of the Apes. It's an old movie. We've probably all seen it at this point. And you can see here it is just firing off a synopsis. And in my experience, I'm not going to read through all that right now live, but in my experience, it has been extremely good at that. And you can ask it all sorts of questions. I feed it screenshots and ask it things. Sometimes it can look at images and tell you things. It's surprisingly useful, and it's built in now. Now, the next thing I want to try is going to be found in the Set Wallpaper and Styles section. If we click on our wallpaper, we should be able to, yes, create with AI. So what we can do now is, just like on Pixel smartphones, we can make our own generated wallpapers. I really like this feature. Let's try something. How about a glowscape? I don't know what that is. We're going to do a pond with a glowing salt rock. And what's going to happen is, it's going to use Google's Imagine engine, if I'm not mistaken, to generate a bunch of wallpapers that fits that style. I actually generated a whole bunch of them, and that's going to be one here. We can click on it, creating a high-resolution version of this image, and we can then set that as our wallpaper. And there you go. There is your new AI-generated wallpaper. Let's make another one. I will say that this is not the same selection of options you get on a Pixel phone, so that is a little bit odd. I think these look pretty cool, though. We're going to go with that one there, number 3, and see how that looks. Let's go ahead and minimize, and it should switch to it, and there is another generated wallpaper. Let's check out that one. It looks a little bit more abstract than the others, and we can see there pretty cool stuff. So the next one is something you're going to be able to make use of inside your Chrome browser. Let's click on this post button. And what we should be able to do here is right click, write faster and with more confidence, use help me write to create a draft. So let's go ahead and click on try, and we got it. Okay, so what we have here is a prompt. Write a post that explains that my Chromebook wrote this for me, and here are some answers. My Chromebook wrote this for me. I am a human, and I am in control of this computer. The Chromebook is simply a tool that I'm using to express my thoughts. It gave another really long option, and then another third one. You can refine this, rephrase, emojify. Let's emojify it. Let's see what we got there. This is actually running pretty quickly. There's another version with a whole bunch of emojis. This is something they call Help Me Write, and I think it could potentially be kind of useful. Within Google Photos, we now have the ability to use Magic Editor. Not just Magic Eraser, but actually Magic Editor. So let's click on that. We can install these additional editing tools. And what this does is it allows you to move things around or erase things from photos, and the space that was left behind will be filled in using generative AI, and the results are far superior to what you would get from something like Magic Eraser. Let's click on it now that it should be downloaded, and we'll see what we can do with this photo. So let's go ahead, and we're going to get rid of that ball. We're going to get rid of that sock. We're going to get rid of my foot, which is in that part of the photo. Let's get rid of this other foot and the rest of my leg, and let's just go ahead and erase all of that. Now, again, this image is now being sent to a data center. These generative edits are being made, and it has been sent back to me, and these are, again, more than one option, but this is option number 1. We should be able to scroll through this using the trackpad. And the reason I say this is better than like regular Magic Eraser is notice things like the pattern on the floor. It filled it in intelligently. it actually filled in the rest of those lines. It tried to fill in the rest of the pattern on the rug. Is it perfect? No, but I think most of the time it's going to do a pretty good job. But there's more to it than just that. Let's back up. We're going to grab that ball, and now I should be able to click and hold. I can now move the ball around. Let's put it here. Shift plus or minus to change. So this is cool because this is not a multi-touch screen. I will say it's enlarging very slowly, but you can enlarge that ball. We're gonna set it here, and now it'll fill in that old space, and it will look like she has a larger ball than she did before. It's kind of a weird example of what to use this for, but there's lots of other cool things. You can imagine all the weird, crazy things you're gonna be able to do with this. This was a big feature of the Pixel 8 devices, and all the things you can see in this promo, you're gonna be able to do now on your Chromebook Plus. If we open up our little menu down here and we select screen capture, you can now, after you change it to a video, you can actually come up to this drop down and record it not as a video, but as a GIF. It's going to make it easier to share it, to text it, send it around, and things like that. I like that addition quite a bit. And as this game installs, the last big thing that I want to show you is Game Bar. This is something that we've had on Pixel devices for a little while. It is now here on Chrome OS, and what that's going to let you actually do is have some really interesting control while you are gaming and do some pretty cool stuff. So at any point, if you hit that little circle icon and then the G key, you're going to have this menu pop up, and you can toggle that sidebar. See it on the top right hand side. You can record your game, you can take a screenshot, but you can also set up controls. What does that mean? Well, a lot of these Android games, most of them, were meant to be played with a touchscreen. You're probably playing with a mouse and a keyboard. So you can actually hit this plus button and put anywhere you want it. This little icon, what it's going to do is it's going to then allow you to assign a key. When you press the key, it simulates touching a screen in that location, thereby allowing you to play all sorts of these Android games much better on your Chromebook. A couple more things I just quickly go over is the ability to have Google Tasks now showing up in your calendar. That's something that I think I'll set up and use probably quite a bit. I'm a big fan of Google Tasks. We also have the ability to personalize your mouse buttons and create personalized keyboard shortcuts. I wish they would be a little bit more in-depth than they are. It's a little bit limited. I've actually talked about this in an earlier video. It was in beta and I kind of showed it off a little bit. A little bit limited, but it's good to have, better than nothing for sure. If you look over at what Microsoft is doing, things like Recall, which are much larger features that, if I'm being honest, have kind of gotten lukewarm receptions. Some people are excited by it. Some people are definitely not happy about it. I think what Google's doing here is a much more sort of reserved approach, and there's good and bad to that. I would love to see some bigger, crazier things being implemented, but you run the risk of overstepping, like I fear Microsoft might have with this new Recall feature. I'm not going to dive into that in this video. If you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. You can Google it otherwise. So yeah, overall, it's cool stuff. Nothing crazy, but definitely cool and worth checking out. If you already have a Chromebook that meets the Plus standard, you'll be getting this update anytime. Go check for an update. It might already be there. And of course, if you're buying any of the new Chromebook Plus devices, of course, you're going to be getting all of these new things too. Guys, thanks for watching. Subscribe for more content just like this. And until next time, stay nerdy, my friends.